Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided that I would do a video for Friday the 13th, and yes, in Australia it is now Saturday the 14th because I was a little bit slow to upload, edit, all that sort of stuff, but the actual artwork was done yesterday. So I have decided to draw a witch and her cat, which ended out looking a little bit more like a rat, a really big one, but that's okay. That's what I've decided to do, and I thought I would tell you about the top 10 superstitions going around, seeing as it is Friday the 13th. So I also thought I'd show you a little bit of the actual speed that I draw and paint at, because I know it's really interesting seeing how other artists actually work, and a lot of my work is speed painting, so I've tried to include a little bit of that in this video for you, so I hope you enjoy that. And let's get into it. So the number one superstition is Friday the 13th is bad luck. So I thought that was really funny that that's the first one, and I'll put a link to the website that I'm looking at all of this on, but it says, a fear of the number 13 is one of the most common superstitions around. It's so widespread that many tall apartment buildings and hotels simply omit labeling their 13th floor. And have you noticed that some airlines also don't have a 13th row? So I thought that's interesting. Number 2, an itchy palm equals good luck. There are many variations of the superstition, but the idea of how an itchy palm generally refers to someone who is greedy or has an insatiable desire for money. Well, there you go. Number 3 is walking under a ladder is bad luck. The shape of an open ladder is a triangle, which signifies life in some mythologies. So that explains that. Number 4, breaking a mirror is bad luck. Many superstitious people say breaking a mirror sets you up for 7 years of bad luck. That may be because 7 years is the time it takes to replace all the cells in your physical body. In more superstitious times, mirrors were thought to be reflections of the soul, so breaking a mirror was believed to be harmful to the soul. To end the chain of bad luck, take the broken mirror outside and bury it in the moonlight. I don't know how many of you have broken a mirror and buried it, but there you go. If you haven't, you should have. Number 5, finding a horseshoe is good luck. In many cultures, a horseshoe is the luckiest of all symbols, especially if you find one with the open end pointing towards you. There you go. You need to go find a horseshoe. Number 6, opening umbrella inside is bad luck. It seems like a no-brainer that opening an umbrella inside brings bad luck, since it represents a risk of breaking valuable items and poking somebody in the eye. It may even signify impending death or ill fortune for both the person who opened it and the person who lives inside the home. There you go, guys. Do not open your umbrella inside. That sounds dangerous to me. Number 7, knock twice on wood will reverse bad luck. I don't know about you, but I actually do this whenever I say anything that I don't want to like jinx. I'm like, oh, knock on wood, and I like knock on my head. Anyway, the origin of this is well-known superstition dates back to a time when some cultures believed that gods lived in trees. To ask the gods for a favor, people would lightly tap the bark of the tree. Then, to say thank you when the favour was granted, a person would lightly knock on the same tree again. Well, there you go. Now I know where that comes from. It's very interesting. Number 8, tossing spilt salt over your shoulder is good luck. For most of human history, salt has been very valuable. In some places and times, it was worth its weight in gold. One common superstition held that it could purify the soul and ward off evil spirits. So when you spill any amount of salt, you ought to pinch it and toss it over your left shoulder. By doing this, the superstition says, you drive away any evil spirits attached to the spill who may want to cause misfortune for the unlucky spiller. There you go. Number 9, black cats. I thought, oh, it says black cats are bad luck, but I thought this one would have been like way up there in like, you know, number 1, 2, like way up there. Anyway. This superstition is a tough one for cat lovers to swallow, but in the Middle Ages it was thought that witches were the keepers of black cats. Some people even believe that these kitties could turn into witches or demons after 7 years. There you go. And number 10 is saying God bless you is good luck. For some, it's good manners, pure and simple, but blessing someone after he or she sneezes is actually a common superstition. In the 6th century in Europe, people congratulated anyone who sneezed. They believed the person was expelling evil spirits. There you go. So I'm interested to know, do you have any superstitions that you follow or believe in? Things that you may not even realize that you're doing until you think about it, or somebody may have actually pulled you up on it and told you that you were actually doing this. Why do you do it? I'd be really interested to know. As I said, I do the one where I knock on wood, or on my head if I can't see any wood nearby. I don't know why, whether that's a family thing that we sort of just started doing, or whether that's actually something that everybody else does. I don't know, but I'd be interested to know what you do. And did you do anything interesting for Friday the 13th? Do you really take notice of the day? You don't know any different? Do you watch movies, scary movies like you would on Halloween? Let me know. So back to the actual art piece. I was actually really, really happy with the way that this turned out. It took me a really long time to sketch it, and as you would have seen in the start, it was actually a pretty sketchy sketch. I was just trying to get the pose right, because I know that we should all use reference when we're unsure, but I decided that I wanted to do this pose without a reference. So I think even without using a reference, I think I did really well. I definitely ruined the cat. I made it way too big and he looks more like a rat, and the coloring is just, let's just not go there. Let's just focus on the nice pretty little witch lady, and disregard her scary looking rat cat. But anyway, I was really happy with the way that the witch turned out. So I did pull inspiration from Jacqueline de Leon. I hope I'm saying that right. I love all of her witchy sort of pieces, and that's where I got the idea for that huge hat. And yeah, I really tried my hardest to give this picture a little bit more flow than a lot of my other pictures, and I think I did achieve that by making the hair sort of flow over her shoulder and down in front, behind her face. So I think I achieved that. The hat's still a little bit stiff, but who knows, maybe it's stiff material. Let's go with that. So the materials that I'm actually using for this piece, I use my Prismacolor pencils to do the sketch. I then used a Faber-Castell India ink marker to do the line art in a size S. I'm not too sure what their sizing is, but it's a S. And then I also used a Sharpie or two to help me with a couple of the lines as well, because I was using watercolor for this piece. I wanted to make sure that my line art would not smudge, so that's why I used permanent markers and the India ink marker. And then I'm using Sakura Koi watercolors to do all of the coloring. So, and I think I use a jelly roll also at the end, a white jelly roll pen, just for some highlights. So yeah, I tried to do the shading best I could, tried to give her a little bit of color in her shoulder and in her cheeks and nose, just so that she looked a little bit more lively, because I tend to not do that. I need to do that more. You can see now I'm trying to fix the cat. There was just no fixing that cat. It still looks terrible. And anyway, get past it. We can do better on the cat in the next time. Getting better with dogs, cats are the next thing. So I just dried it all off, and then went in and just tried to make that hat look a little bit more flowy, a little bit more fluent. So I just gave it an extra coat of that grey all over to sort of make it blend in a little bit more. So then what I did is I wanted to have a slight background. So I used a purple color, which I thought would go really nice with the yellow and the red and the black already in the image. And I tried to make sure that only the very bottom was like a saturated color, and then it sort of just lifted through to the top of the page, which worked really well actually. These like the watercolor brush that I'm using is just one of those refillable brushes, and I hadn't used them for the last couple of pieces because I was doing like the last couple of things I've done were actually gouache. I've been playing a bit with gouache, and I use normal paintbrushes with water. And going back to this brush actually made me realize why I like it so much. And I think that's because it is, how to explain it? It lets me pull the color from bright to light. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like with using a normal paintbrush and water, it lets you keep a really consistent color throughout the whole thing because you're not continuously adding water. So whatever's on your brush is what you use. Whereas with these, it actually has water in it. So it keeps pulling the color, but it gives it like this gradient. So of course you can add more paint to your brush, but if you don't, it will lighten the color. And I think that's really cool if you know how to use it or know how you want to try and use it, which is what I used. Like I used it that way in the background and on some of the skin. So yeah, that's the reason I think the cat didn't work, is because I couldn't get that whole gradient texture-y sort of thing to work. But that's okay. We know for next time not to use that. Maybe use a different brush for like consistent colors. But yeah, anyway, that's what I discovered from this piece, and I am really happy with it. I did it in my Inktober sketchbook from last year because I knew that the paper would hold up. It did crinkle a bit, but you've got to expect that. Like, it still didn't go through the paper, and it didn't warp it too much, so I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, overall I really like this piece, and I definitely plan on doing a few more very similar to it soon, so keep an eye out for that. Same sort of style, I mean. If you have any questions on how I have done any of this, please do let me know. Otherwise, I thank you guys so much for watching. I really look forward to hearing about your different superstitions that you might have, so make sure you leave them in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Thanks guys. Bye.